Hi, my name is Audrey, and today we're going to talk about a pretty cute and a pretty smart old man with large ears. His name is Karl Popper. Karl Popper was born in the beautiful land of Vienna, Austria, in the early 1900s. He studied mathematics, physics, and psychology at the University of Vienna, and later wrote a few books, taught philosophy, and spent most of his career in England, retiring in 1969 and passing away in 1994 at the age of 92. Karl Popper was lucky enough to be born in a time of scientific revolution. Karl Popper was lucky enough to be born during a time of significant scientific revolution. Albert Einstein was working diligently on his theory of relativity, while Sigmund Freud was striving tirelessly in the newly born field of psychology. Although their studies were repeated and renowned, Popper believed that only one was practicing true science. He called the criteria that differentiated the two scientists' methods of the principle of falsifiability. According to Popper, for a theory to be scientific, it must be refutable. Dictionary.com says that refute means to prove to be false or erroneous, and Popper was all about this. Popper believed that it was imperative that a theory was so specific it could be criticized and proven wrong. Therefore, these predictions run a real risk of being incorrect. Interestingly, this was how Popper believed that we made progress in the scientific field. Popper said, "Real scientific life theories typically contribute not by being right, but by being wrong." In other words, scientific advance in theory as well as experiments tends to be built upon the successive corrections of many errors, both of small and large. Thus, the popular notion that a theory must be right to be useful is incorrect. Let's take Einstein, for example. Einstein was a good example of creating refutable and risky predictions, and he did this by how he went about his scientific method. Einstein's theory of relativity was specific and to the point, outlining exactly what he thought would happen before it happened. On the other hand, a theory that is non-refutable is a theory that is vague. It is so vague that if tested, practically any outcome will support the theory. For example, Freud predicted that our childhood experiences would have a large effect on who we would become to be. But this prediction was so vague that practically anything could prove it to be true. Let's say that a child has attachment issues. Then, Freud would conclude that it was probably because she wasn't hugged enough as a child. But if she has very loving parents who hugged her all the time, then what? Oh, that's probably because she was hugged too much as a child. Either way, his theory is proven correct, but not to Popper. According to Popper, Freud's theory was non-refutable and therefore not that useful. He called Freud's method of testing pseudoscience. Popper believed that the goal for every theory should be to prove it wrong. And after trying every possible option to prove a theory incorrect, we then know it is correct. Think of it this way. Let's say that we believed that the reason that our tooth that was underneath our pillow at night is replaced with a dollar bill is because this fairy, called the tooth fairy, comes in at night and replaces it and maybe uses that teeth for like jewelry or earrings or gauges or something like that. Then, according to Popper, the best way to go about proving if that theory is correct is by trying to prove it false. It's easy to be convinced that it might be true. We already have that preconceived notion. Plus, there's so much evidence that it's true. Your tooth is actually replaced. Your parents don't say that they did it, and your friends already believe the theory. But what kind of progress does that give us? You see, to Popper, all scientific theories are eventually going to be proven false. It's just a matter of time. So, in the process of creating all these theories and trying to disprove them, we're going to further perfect our theories. So let's go back to the theory that the tooth fairy is real. In order to try to disprove this theory, having put your tooth carefully underneath your pillow the night before, you might stay up all night, or neglect to even tell your parents that you had lost your tooth. And by doing so, we might discover that our tooth is not replaced. Or maybe we will catch our parents being the ones to replace our tooth. No, I don't think that would be the case. I think instead we would find a tooth fairy coming to replace her stuff, and we would have a conversation with her and be like, "Yo, here's my tooth. Thanks for the dollar. Appreciate all that you do. Appreciate doing business with you. Come again in a few months." And that's how Karl Popper suggests that we find the truth, is by disproving the things that we already believe. And by doing so, we can then further our knowledge of the truth. Thanks for watching.